Goldman upgrade thin this week is our primary story. We also have an update on access to SpaceX shares. We've spoken with some investors who have shares and are interested in selling some of them. We also have kind of a review of what's going on with our trade group as well. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks for joining us. If this is your first time, thanks for being here. Wanted to thank our Patreon supporters as well as subscribers. If you enjoy the show, please take time to like and subscribe. Wanted to note that we still haven't gotten our Patreon stuff going again. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, please make sure you drop us an email along with the level that you're at so we can make sure we get to your services directly by email, even if we're not getting fast response from Patreon. So I wanted to first note that we had a pretty amazing trading week last week. Pretty much everyone in our 5K group did about 200%. We actually had one group member enjoy a 400% week, and we're thrilled to hear and see what happened there. A few folks have asked if it's too late to get in. The answer is no, because we're still before earnings, so we still have another at least 3 weeks, maybe 4, for that operation of that group as we head into the before and after earnings period for Tesla. So I think you might be impressed by returns achieved, and therefore might be something for you to consider. So I have our goal was to really be a breadth of all things Tesla, but given that we're heading to earnings and Elon came up with the production count for cars and the impact things are going to have if they can make their number this quarter to head into the S&P, it's turned out to be kind of 50-50, and we'll definitely be doing more car stuff as we head into this week. But for now, a lot of money being passed around on the stock, and therefore we're inclined to keep it in sort of in the eye, or keep an eye on it because of that. I was sort of intrigued in analysis on kind of what happened this week, because I'm part of a trade group and sort of the leader of the trade group, if you will, who's the most successful trader in terms of size of his account, was really emphatic about the fact that Goldman had upgraded Tesla, and therefore, given Goldman's reputation and power, it should really have a lot of impact in the marketplace. And so as I listened to him, I was kind of confused by the upgrade by Goldman for several reasons. The first is that Goldman has made a point to join a couple of other big banks in downgrading Tesla every opportunity they've gotten. And so I found it very strange that they upgraded. And the second point was they also upgraded the stock to a number 868 that was way ahead of most of the folks who've been bulls on the stock all along. So that gap seemed very strange. Another strange result on that was that there's this discussion where they presented the upgrade, but it didn't seem like there was a lot of substantive data that backed up their analysis. So we've sort of had this back and forth debate about what was going to happen to the stock. Clearly, it was already up in after hours, so you could have that argument. But then we were having a debate early in the morning and late at night what was going to happen. And I likened it to the fact that sometimes you have some really powerful tanks, and one tank will get way ahead of the others and maybe enter the tree line where the enemy is lurking. And so without backup or support, you could end up with that thing getting blown away. And we kind of saw that in terms of what happened with Goldman's sort of upgrade, and then the market or other analysts really didn't follow them into those tree lines, and therefore their upgrade kind of got blown away initially. It seems as though as we closed out the week, there was a shift of heart relative to the 3-day rule on that upgrade. and it seemed to push the stock nicely up into the high 770s. But again, it sort of fell back and was sort of pinned close to 750. So it'll be interesting to see what happens heading into this week. We still think that given the number of analysts that have upgraded, given the quality of numbers, given the fact that China is getting very big very quickly, making it able to deliver a large number of vehicles, the heading in earnings and the after earnings sort of guidance, I think, is going to be really solid. And that's why we believe the stock is actually up nicely right now. So it'll be interesting to see if Tesla can shake off the malaise that's experienced by the general market right now, in that there's not a lot of people sure about what's going to happen next. Will oil recover or not and help out things? Will there be an opportunity to reopen the economy that's being discussed to really help this whole thing sort of turn around? And if that's the case, we would expect, a healthy updraft in Tesla stock. So I just thought it was, I sort of wanted to run by some of the Goldman statistics because it really prompted a sort of heated discussion about, well, what was really going to happen and why. And then we kind of saw the results of that. And as I predicted, it wasn't a catastrophe or anything, but it was a fairly thin report. And that thinness, I believe, influenced the aggressiveness with people climbed into the stock. So, it's fun to be able to have debates with smart people about what's going to happen and putting your money against your thought process as a combo. And, it wasn't earnings. The nightmare only lasted one day, but given that expiration came up the next day, it was a very challenging day because you had to make some big decisions without the benefit of any real guidance by the market in whether or not it was going up, going down, way down, or whatever. So I would say very challenging, but I want to say also educational to sort of work to get a better grasp of when it's a really good idea to aggressively get into the stock or not. The expectation I have / we have is that, yes, Tesla will do its usual round trip of 50 points or more a day, but we're actually heading into what should be a very strong period for the company. And given that it hasn't come out with a full earnings report yet, one would expect that the situation right now would be, Tesla somewhat operating on its own, but somewhat moving to the rhythm of whether or not the market is up strong or down strong until it delivers its numbers and then sort of controls the narrative relative to those numbers. So we'll keep you posted on how all this is working. I still am a strong believer in the folks at Abbott Labs. A lot of new exams that they've put out. Yes, there's competition out there, but these guys are seriously delivering rapidly, and we're thrilled at what we're hearing, seeing from them. The next thing I wanted to review is sort of SpaceX shares. We did a due diligence trip a few weeks ago to Southern California, met with a former consultant of SpaceX to get a feel for, the company in general. And then now we've actually made some contact with investors who actually have shares that they'd like to sell. And so we have our initial group that has priority in terms of those shares. If you're interested in that, please drop us a note so that we could work out a process for having you get behind the lineup of folks we already have that would like to snag some pre-IPO shares on SpaceX. Obviously, Starlink being spun off is sort of the big news of what's coming up, even if SpaceX will be delayed for a bit. The structure we're using won't require you to be an accredited investor. So we look forward to having you drop us a note so we can update you on what's going on in that space. And I think SpaceX or Starlink is putting up a large number of satellites, which I think means they're going to deliver a very high quality service to validate the $39 billion market cap they currently have. So we're thrilled to be making progress on that. We've typically do a show every day, so there's not a need necessarily to sort of drive time in where we don't have a lot of sort of concrete movement. It's obviously a Sunday, and most of what we discussed today is kind of review of kind of what happened this week, et cetera. We're positive on Tesla, et cetera, but as you've seen, if the market's down severely, it can take the stock with it, and kind of nothing Tesla can do or anybody can do when that does occur in the short term. But I just feel like the bias for the whole company stock, et cetera, is up, and we look forward to seeing it reflected in success for the company. At any rate, just a reminder, wanted to encourage you to do some leg lifts, 25 on each leg with a 5-pound weight. Also wanted to encourage you to do some stretching. I've some back pain and was doing some stretching in that area as well. By the way, admin@Teslafaninsight is our email address. It is listed below the screen so you can see what it is if you want to drop a note on the trade group or SpaceX or anything else. Wanted to note that we appreciate your time's valuable. We appreciate your sharing it with us and strive to find ways to make sure it's valuable input that we make to that. Any rate, that's about it for today. In German, we say tschüss, au revoir, friendly throat, Hebrew, Choda Hafez, Farsi, Zdravstvuyte, hello in Russian, Ni hao ma, hello in Chinese, hey do, Swedish. Want to thank you very much for joining us again. And in Jamaica, we say enough respect, walk Woodman. Have a great day, and thanks for visiting with us. And we look forward to our show tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.